Stop right there. I know what you're thinking. You're saying to yourself, but I'm loving, I'm available, I'm a servant, I'm here for everybody. Listen carefully. Constant availability is not love. It is often untrained stewardship dressed in religious language. The truth is, if you're always accessible, your future is always postponed. If your phone, your mind, your calendar, and your peace are a public sidewalk, your assignment is stuck at a red light that never turns green. You must understand this. Heaven did not send you to be a 2-4-hour convenience store. Heaven sent you as a manager over a sacred inventory. And management requires doors, hours, gates, appointments, and laws. Let me confront your identity gently but firmly. You can be a good person and still be a poor steward. You can be generous and still be irresponsible with your oil. You can pray loudly and still leak privately. The problem is not that you care too much. The problem is that you govern too little. The kingdom does not reward unguarded kindness. The kingdom rewards faithful stewardship. Faithfulness is not being everywhere for everyone. Faithfulness is being precisely where God assigned you when he assigned you. Doing what he assigned you with the focus he requires. Do you hear me? Good hearts without good boundaries produce delayed harvests, diluted influence, and drained souls. Until you understand that boundaries are holy, you will confuse chaos for compassion. Boundaries are not a modern trend. They are ancient kingdom law. The King of Heaven trusts you with time, gifts, relationships, revelations, and energy, the way a master entrusts talents to servants. If you bury them under everybody's emergency, you dishonor the giver. If you scatter them to every demand that knocks, you insult the manufacturer who designed you with specifications. That's why your spirit is agitated when you say yes. That should have been, not now. That's why your joy is thin when your days are thick with obligations God never authorized. Peace is the alarm system of purpose. When it blares, it's telling you that an unauthorized user just swiped your access card. Let me expose the paradox that keeps many believers stuck. You believe that availability is evidence of maturity. You think that exhaustion is a badge of spiritual authority. No, that mindset is a lie designed to keep you shallow, distracted, and dependent. Holy does not mean harried. Servant-hearted does not mean scattered-minded. Even in the language of the kingdom, there are gates, courts, and inner rooms. There is structure. There is order. There is priority. The God who separated light from darkness, waters from waters, and days from days expects you to separate your yes from your no, your assignment from their agenda, your calling from their crisis. You must understand this. Every yes is a seed. Every no is a fence. Seeds die without fences. If you sow your time everywhere, birds will feast and you will faint. The enemy of your destiny does not need to make you immoral to make you ineffective. He only needs to make you constantly available. He will schedule you into spiritual poverty. He will drown your clarity in other people's noise. He will turn your focus into confetti and call it fellowship. Don't misunderstand me. Love people. Serve people. But you must love them enough to protect the part of you heaven is using to bless them. When you forfeit your boundaries, you sabotage your ability to feed the very people you're trying to help. Empty wells can't satisfy thirsty cities. Listen, burnout is not simply tiredness. Tiredness is solved by a nap. Burnout is the consequence of misdirected worship, because wherever you pour your energy consistently, you have built an altar. If your best hours go to appeasing opinions, you have enthroned people. If your sharpest focus goes to managing impressions, you have crowned perception. If your mornings, when revelation is freshest, are spent scrolling through demands, you have sacrificed counsel on the altar of commentary. That is why you feel used up. That is why you pray, but your mind keeps racing. That is why you work hard, but your results feel small. You are spending purpose energy on people demands and calling it humility. It is not humility, it is mismanagement. Now hear this correction with hope. You do not need to become hard. You need to become governed. You don't need distance from compassion. You need dominion over access. The kingdom word is stewardship. Stewardship is the discipline of distribution under the authority of the king. It is saying this day is the Lord's and he has an assignment. My calendar is a covenant, not a suggestion. My phone is a tool, not a leash. My emotions are a garden, not a highway. When you embrace that posture, peace returns like a loyal guard to the gate of your mind. Vision clears, clarity sharpens, fruit accelerates. Why? Because heaven backs order, heaven funds focus, heaven breathes on obedience. I can already hear the objections, but won't people feel neglected? Won't I miss opportunities? Stop right there. What God assigns to you cannot be secured by panic. What belongs to you will not be delivered through disobedience. Opportunities that require you to betray your assignment are traps, not doors. Approval that demands your exhaustion is bribery, not favor. Your future does not need your people pleasing. Your future needs your consecration. You want to be useful? Protect your usefulness. You want to be impactful? Guard your impact source. Shut the open windows that let in flies while you're trying to bake bread. Here is where we are going. In this journey, I will show you 5 signs, surprising, confronting, liberating, that reveal when your boundaries are broken. Each sign will deliver a practical correction to your calendar and a spiritual realignment to your heart. We are not playing with theories. We are rebuilding walls. We are restoring gates. We are reestablishing laws that protect your oil. Because when your life is always available, your purpose is always delayed. But when your access is governed, your destiny begins to quicken its pace as if it has been waiting for you to take your post at the gate. So prepare your heart. Shake off the shame you wear for telling the truth about your limits. Limits are not weakness, they are wisdom. You may have to disappoint people to obey God. You may have to be misunderstood to be effective. You may have to step back from the crowd to step into the counsel of the king. That is not selfish, that is sacred. Starting now, you will stop equating chaos with compassion. Starting now, you will treat your hours like holy currency. Starting now, you will recognize that your assignments have territories to conquer and time slots to occupy. And if your assignment does not own time on your calendar, it will never own territory in your life. This is the foundation. This is the charge. Guard the gate. Honor the inventory. Your fruit is waiting for your boundaries. Now listen carefully. Before we diagnose the signs, you must grasp the governing principle beneath them all. Misuse is not always rebellion. Sometimes it is ignorance of value. The problem is not that you are evil. The problem is that you are casual with what is holy. When you don't know the value of a thing, you will loan it cheaply. And what you loan cheaply will return to you damaged. You must understand this about your life. You are holding something sacred. Your assignment is not a hobby. It is a trust. Your time is not random hours. It is kingdom currency. Your mind is not an open field. It is a garden the king walks in during the cool of the day. When you treat it like a highway for anyone's traffic, you signal to heaven and to hell that you don't know what you carry, and everything unvalued will eventually be violated. Shift now from personality to design. This is not about you being introverted or extroverted. This is about you being manufactured with intention. Your manufacturer did not release you without a specification sheet. Your fingerprint is a memo from eternity that your assignment is unique, your lens is customized, and your capacities are calibrated for specific outcomes. That purpose is your assignment. And assignments require protective environments. A seed is not weak because it needs soil. It is wise because it understands process. So your life must have protected time, protected mind, and protected relationships. Protected time is when the king's agenda owns appointments on your calendar that cannot be negotiated by panic. Protected mind is when you refuse to let fear, flattery, or foolishness sit in your imagination and rehearse lies. Protected relationships are when only people with covenant intentions get keys to your inner rooms. If you don't guard those 3 zones, you will mistake busyness for fruitfulness and attention for impact. Let me define boundaries before the enemy twists it in your ear. Boundaries are not walls of hatred. They are gates of wisdom. A wall says, keep out. A gate says, come in when authorized. Boundaries are not isolation. They are authorization. They answer 3 questions relentlessly. Who gets access? When do they get access? And for what purpose do they get access? If you can't answer those questions, your life is a public park where any event can be hosted without paying rent. And you wonder why your soul looks like after festival trash on a Monday morning. Until you understand that authority is expressed through gates, you will confuse guilt with guidance and noise with need. Gates do not make you unloving. They make you accurate. Gates do not reduce your compassion. They refine your contribution. Love is not proven by leaving your door unlocked. Love is proven by guarding your oil so you can pour it where heaven intends. Now hear this distinction, because it will save your destiny. Counsel and commentary are not the same thing. Counsel sharpens destiny. Commentary drains it. Counsel is purposeful, responsible, and aligned with your assignment. Counsel tells you, sharpen here, slow down here, say no here, prepare there. Commentary is loud, casual, and misaligned. Commentary says, why are you doing that? I wouldn't. You're too intense. Try everything. Commentary is the chorus of the uncommitted. Counsel is the whisper of the wise. Boundaries are how you protect the table of your decisions. Who sits there? Not everyone who loves you qualifies to guide you. Show your blueprint to builders, not critics. Invite those who pay the price of clarity, not those who pay with coins of opinion. There's a difference between getting counsel and getting commentary. Counsel refines your method. Commentary confuses your motive. Counsel gives you tools. Commentary gives you doubts. If you do not set boundaries, you will keep putting microphones into the hands of people who have never built what you are called to steward, and then wonder why your confidence keeps bleeding on the floor. Let me take you deeper into the spiritual weight of your yes. Every yes is a seed. Every yes leaves your mouth and goes into soil. If you plant your yes in the wrong soil, you will harvest exhaustion instead of impact. When you say yes to the insecure flattery that wants time but not transformation, you sow into rocky ground that grows weeds of resentment. When you say yes to every crisis that refuses to be coached, you water a swamp that will swallow your energy and return nothing but guilt. But when you sow your yes into your assignment, your study hours, your prayer window, your planning table, your disciplined practice, you plant in prepared soil. That soil looks boring. It looks hidden. It looks like no one cares. That's because good soil is quiet. Greatness is married to silence. You must stop scattering your yes like confetti at everyone else's parade. Your yes belongs on the altar, not on the sidewalk. Stop right there. I can hear the objection, but isn't that selfish? Didn't God call me to serve? No, that's not what I'm saying, and that's not what service means. Service without stewardship is sabotage. The truth is, you cannot feed nations with an empty oven. You cannot light cities with a broken lamp. You cannot lead families with a flooded heart. Kingdom service starts with kingdom order. Order your gates, then open your hands. Because when your gates are governed, what flows through your hands is pure, focus, and multiply. Without boundaries, your generosity becomes guilt-driven rescue missions that train people to depend on your disobedience. With boundaries, your generosity becomes strategic investments that mature people into their own assignments. I want you to audit the entry points right now. Who has morning access to your mind? That first hour is not for gossip, not for scrolls, not for panic. That first hour is an appointment with your king and your calling. Guard it like an embassy meeting. Who has emergency access to your calendar? If people can pressure you out of prayer and push you out of preparation, they already outrank your assignment in your heart. Who has inner room access to your emotions? If sarcasm, comparison, and flattery can enter unescorted, your peace will be pickpocketed before noon. You need visas for entry. You need criteria for access. You need to post a sign at the gate of your life that says, counsel enters here, commentary stays outside, assignment is at the head of the table, opinions stand in the gallery. Listen carefully. Boundaries are the proof that you understand the value of your purpose. They are your stewardship receipt. They are how you tell heaven, I know what I am carrying and I will not treat it casually. When you start to fence your focus, you are not diminishing love. You are elevating it. You are saying, I love you enough to bring my best, and I can only bring my best when I manage my access. Your future will not be built by how many people liked your availability. Your future will be built by how consistently you honored your assignment. Do you want to be trusted with more? Govern what you already have. Do you want clarity? Close the gates to confusion. Do you want acceleration? Reduce unauthorized access. That's not cruelty. That's consecration. And hear me with sober hope. Heaven responds to stewardship. When you guard your mornings, revelation returns. When you protect your practice, excellence emerges. When you reserve your counsel seats for the wise, strategy appears. When you stop sowing your yes into shallow soil, harvest begins to shout from fields you thought were barren. Misuse was never your identity. It was your lack of valuation. But today, you are upgrading the value you place on your assignment. And because you are upgrading value, you are restricting access. Not to push people away, but to pull your destiny forward. Guard your process like your life depends on it, because it does. Boundaries are sacred because destiny is sacred. And destiny accelerates where value is honored and access is governed. Stop right there. Before you accuse yourself of being unloving for building gates, let's fix your theology with the king's own example. Listen carefully. Jesus loved everyone, but he didn't give everyone access. He ministered to multitudes, but he mentored 12. He poured into the 12, but he revealed weighty moments to 3. He spoke parables to the crowds, but he explained mysteries privately to his inner circle. He laid his life down for the world, but he managed his time according to the Father's schedule. That is not cruelty. That is accuracy. That is kingdom order. You must understand this. Love is universal. Access is selective. Compassion is inclusive. Covenant is exclusive. If your king practiced boundaries, why would you call it unchristlike when you do the same? The problem is not that you want to love people. The problem is that you confuse love with unrestricted access. The truth is, you can be compassionate without being consumable. You can be available to God while being unavailable to distraction. You are not a doormat. You are an embassy. Embassies don't hate nations. They honor jurisdiction. Rivers don't stop being water because banks contain them. They gain power, direction, and capacity to generate life. Your purpose is a river. Without banks, it becomes a flood that destroys the very fields it was meant to nourish. Until you understand that banks are boundaries and boundaries are holy, you will apologize for the very order that preserves your assignment. Look at the pattern. He healed many, yet he often withdrew to solitary places to pray. He welcomed children, yet he silenced storms to guard a boat assignment. He fed thousands, yet he slipped away when they tried to make him king by force. He didn't rush every request. He answered to the Father's timing. He could say, my time has not yet come, and keep walking. That is not indifference. That is obedience. If you imitate the love of Christ without imitating the boundaries of Christ, you will carry a cross he did not ask you to build and neglect the one he handed you. Kingdom love is not led by panic. Kingdom love is led by purpose. Now let's draw your assignment zones with the precision of a builder. Some people are your crowd. They are blessed by your gift at a distance. They are not evil. They are just not your inner room. Bless them, teach them, serve them, but do not hand them keys. Some people are your circle. They have consistent proximity. They see process. They sharpen you and you sharpen them. They can correct you without having to crush you. And then there are your covenant people. These are the ones heaven yokes to your calling. They carry with you. They suffer with you. They protect your birthings. Covenant is rare. Covenant is tested. Covenant is costly. The law of boundaries is simple. Keep crowd in the crowd, circle in the circle, and covenant in the covenant. When you invite the crowd into your covenant room, you will suffer betrayal. When you demote covenant to crowd, your heart starves for the intimacy your assignment requires. Order relationships and you stabilize destiny. Confuse relationships and you sabotage it. I know what you're thinking. If I say no, I'm not Christ-like. That's a lie designed to keep you exhausted and ineffective. Christ-likeness includes wisdom, timing, and obedience to the Father's schedule. Sometimes being like Jesus means saying, not now. Sometimes it means walking past an open door because it's not your door. Sometimes it means leaving a crowd because there's another town, another table, another appointment ordained by the King. Jesus did not measure love by immediate availability. He measured it by faithful alignment. He didn't check his compassion level by tallying interruptions. He checked his obedience level by consulting the Father's will. If you require permission from people to follow divine timing, you have already misplaced your allegiance. Let me make it plain. Love everyone, grant access wisely, because access determines whether your assignment survives. Access is not neutral. Access either multiplies your oil or murders it. Access either refines your focus or scatters it. Access either carries your vision or carves it into pieces for public consumption. Guard your access and you preserve your anointing. Govern your access and you govern your future. Peace is better than popularity. Purpose is weightier than public opinion. Counsel sharpens. Commentary distracts. You are not commanded to be reachable by everyone at all times. You are commanded to be faithful at all times. Consider the moments he chose separation. Early mornings, he withdrew non-negotiable appointment. After miracles, he disappeared, non-negotiable recovery. Before major decisions, he prayed through the night, non-negotiable counsel. Some of you need to repent for calling divine separation selfish. It is not selfish. It is sacred. It is the sanctification of your schedule. It is the consecration of your windows. It is how you refuse to let the noise of the outer court invade the holiness of your inner room. Until you treat time with God and time for preparation as holy hours, you will continue to spend your days apologizing to people and explaining your no while heaven waits for your yes. I am warning you as a shepherd and commissioning you as a builder. Set the seating chart of your relationships. Place the crowd in the gallery, the circle at the table, and covenant in the inner room. Do not reverse it. Stop letting the gallery shout instructions to the altar. Stop letting applause design your calendar. Stop confusing urgent with authorized. If the Father did not schedule it, it is a distraction no matter how loud it knocks. And yes, some doors that feel like favor are actually traps constructed by flattery. If access requires you to silence conviction, it is not favor. If access drains your prayer life, it is not promotion. If access pulls you from your practice, it is not opportunity, it is opposition in a tuxedo. Now, listen carefully. The signs we are about to expose will feel personal because gates are personal. Gates are not theories. They are thresholds in your daily life, your mornings, your conversations, your calendars, your inner dialogues. When I lay these signs before you, I am handing you a mirror. It will not flatter. It will not entertain. It will correct, awaken, and empower. Don't run. Don't defend the very patterns that are slowly starving your destiny. Let the physician touch the tender places. Let the builder measure the walls. Let the king inspect the gates. Because when your access is realigned to the pattern of Christ, crowd blessed, circle sharpened, covenant protected, your assignment will stop leaking and start running. Your peace will stop being public property. Your obedience will stop waiting for approval. And your life will begin to speak loudly without your mouth exhausting itself to explain why you said no. Sign number one will cut where you live, and that's why it will heal where you leak. Your schedule belongs to everyone except your assignment. Stop right there. Don't defend it. Don't call it seasonal. Don't hide behind, I'm just flexible. Listen carefully. If your week is designed around other people's emergencies, other people's preferences, and other people's moods, what you call compassion is actually poor governance. The truth is, Your purpose has been eating leftovers while everyone else dines on your prime hours. You must understand this. If your assignment doesn't own time on your calendar, it will never own territory in your life. Territory follows time. Authority follows order. Fruit follows focus. Let me ask you plainly, when does your assignment meet with you? What day, what hour, what window is sacred, non-negotiable, defended by angels, and guarded by your locks? If your answer is whenever I can, you have already confessed that you live by interruption, not by intention. An interruption is a terrible king. Interruption will baptize you in busyness and leave you barren of fruit. Interruption will make you a hero in everybody else's story while your own calling gasps for oxygen. Interruption will praise your availability, then blame you for your ineffectiveness. Until you understand that time is the gate of destiny, you will continue to let anyone climb over your wall with an urgent tone and a sad face. I can hear your soft protests, but I'm serving. I'm a servant. That sounds holy, but for many of you, it is false humility, masking disobedience. The problem is not that you love people. The problem is that you are avoiding the disciplined construction of what God told you to build. It is easier to be applauded for responding fast than to be accountable for producing fruit. It is easier to put out fires than to lay foundations. It is easier to rescue than to research, to fix than to focus, to soothe than to study. And so you hide inside everybody's crisis because your own calling requires quiet consistency and courage. This is not service. This is self-sabotage wrapped in religious sentiment. Heaven is not impressed by activity. Heaven honors accuracy. Now the correction will feel simple because wisdom is simple. Establish a first fruit schedule. Give God the first and the best of hours of energy, of attention, and then let everything else find its place. First fruits is not just an offering you bring, it is a calendar you build. Block sacred time before social access. Appoint your mornings as holy hours. Sanctify that opening window for prayer and the word, not for scrolls and noise. When you wake, you report to the king before you report to the crowd. Then carve protected time for your assignment, study, practice, planning, creation, whatever work heaven has put into your hands. Put it in ink, not pencil. Lock it with alarms, not good intentions. Build in time for family responsibilities because your home is a ministry and your covenant is a trust. Guard your health with scheduled movement and rest because a sick steward can't carry a heavy crown. Only after those gates are set do you open a door for discretionary requests. That is not neglect. That is order. That is stewardship. That is the kingdom. I know what you're thinking, but my job is demanding. My season is chaotic. My kids are young. No, that's not what I'm saying. And that's not an excuse to abandon governance. If your mornings are owned by an early shift, then your evenings become the altar. If your evenings are heavy with family, then lunch becomes a sanctuary. If your day is carved into small pieces, then you tithe the pieces. 15 minutes of focused obedience beats 2 hours of distracted pretending. It's not length first, it's lordship first. The manufacturer is not measuring you against somebody else's schedule. He is measuring whether you rule what you have. Rule your minutes and your hours will multiply. Rule your windows and your doors will open. Rule your small and your large will be entrusted. Let me train your tongue because boundary language is kingdom armor. Vague availability invites violation. Clarity creates peace. Replace I'm around most days with I can do 20 minutes on Friday at 2 p.m. Replace maybe I can squeeze it in, but I can't today. Replace I'll try with let me check my priorities and get back to you. Replace call me anytime with these are my office hours. You are not lying. You are leading. You are not arrogant. You are accurate. A clean no is not rebellion. It is the gate that protects your God-given yes. Your words are keys. If you hand out master keys in casual phrases, don't be surprised when your peace becomes public property. Some of you treat your phone like a sovereign and yourself like a servant. Turn your phone into a servant and stand back in your throne. Silence notifications during holy hours. Use do not disturb like a priest closes a curtain. Define what an emergency is and who is authorized to declare it. If everything is an emergency, nothing is an emergency. Panic is not a credential. Tears are not authorization. Volume is not validation. The king's agenda determines priority, not the decibel level of demands. Now, here the promise attached to the principle. What you honor first grows. What you postpone shrinks. Your schedule is a prophecy. Every blocked hour is a declaration to heaven and to hell about what you value. If your calendar is filled with everybody else's harvest and empty of your sowing, you have prophesied scarcity over your future. But if your calendar reveals prayer first, purpose first, preparation first, you have prophesied abundance. The earth responds to sequence. Seed, then time, then harvest. Not harvest, then seed, then time. God blessed the order before he blessed the output. If you want your life to multiply, bless your order. Let me make it practical enough that you can start today. Open your calendar and schedule 4 weeks of first fruits blocks. Name them, protect them. Morning altar, non-negotiable. Assignment work, non-negotiable. Family covenant, non-negotiable. Health stewardship, non-negotiable. Then assign limited windows for correspondence and meetings. If a request arrives that threatens a sacred block, the answer is no or next available. Not I'll squeeze it. Inform your circle of your new gates. Teach them your hours. Train your team. Mentor your friends by modeling governance. And when guilt whispers, remember, gates are not rejection, gates are protection. You are not shutting people out, you are keeping purpose in. Stop right there. I can feel a residue of fear. Won't I miss opportunities? No, you will miss distractions dressed as opportunities. The doors that are yours are scheduled by the king. The meetings that matter will fit into the order he gave you. And when something truly sovereign interrupts, you will know, because peace will escort it and counsel will confirm it. Chaos will not pressure you into betraying your altar. Flattery will not seduce you into selling your focus. You will become unmovable, steady, rooted, because your hours are anchored to heaven. You must understand this. Leadership begins with self-government. Dominion starts at the door of your day. If you can't run your calendar, you can't run your calling. If you can't protect your hours, you can't protect your anointing. And if you keep feeding your assignment crumbs, don't blame God when your results are thin. Repent for the casualness. Renounce the addiction to interruption. Replace it with a consecrated sequence. First the altar, then the building, then the blessing. When you do, watch what happens. Ideas you thought were dead will rise because they finally receive time. Skills you thought were average will sharpen because they finally receive practice. Peace you thought was fragile will strengthen because it finally received protection. And your life without loud announcements will begin to speak. Your fruit will become your press release. Your schedule will start preaching your values long before your mouth explains them. Guard your first, govern your hours. Give your assignment a seat on your calendar and it will take its rightful seat in your life. Sign number 2 will expose a quiet slavery that looks holy from a distance but keeps you delayed up close. You need permission, approval, or applause before you obey God. Stop right there. I know what you're thinking. I'm just being humble. I'm teachable. I don't want to be presumptuous. No, that's not what I'm saying, and that's not what humility is. Listen carefully. When your courage rises and falls with feedback, when your obedience is on a leash held by other people's reactions, you don't have an obedience problem. You have a boundary problem. You have not separated your assignment from their opinion. Your emotions do not know the difference between divine instruction and public commentary. So your destiny idles at every intersection, waiting for strangers to wave you. The truth is, the moment you require approval to obey, you hand strangers authority over your destiny. Their likes become your green lights. Their silence becomes your red lights. Their confusion becomes your detour. And heaven waits while you refresh your notifications. Let me confront the addiction with love and with fire. Validation seeking is the most socially acceptable idolatry of this age. It turns calling into performance. Instead of building what the king assigned, you start rehearsing for a crowd that didn't design you. You post a seed and forbid it from growing in the dark because you want applause to water it. You edit your assignment to match the moment that gets claps. You preach what is popular, you launch what trends, you say what is safe, and you call it wisdom. But it is not wisdom. It is weakness masquerading a strategy. Dreams die in the comment section because someone needed likes more than they needed growth. Counsel sharpens you. Commentary distracts you. If you keep confusing the two, you will keep exchanging fruitfulness for fanfare and authority for aesthetics. You must understand this. Applause does not authenticate assignment. Obedience does. Now hear the identity correction that breaks the chain. Confidence is not arrogance. It is accuracy about design. You were manufactured by a king with intention. Your fingerprint is heaven's memo, one of one, not for sale, not for imitation. Confidence is rooted in design. It says my manufacturer knows why I'm here and my assignment is not up for public vote. Insecurity is rooted in comparison. It says, let me check what they're doing. Let me mimic what worked for them. Let me soften my edge so I fit their preferences. The enemy of your destiny is not ignorance of options, it is imitation. Imitation is a boundary breach against your uniqueness. It opens the gate of your identity and lets comparison sit in the ruler's chair. Until you close that gate and lock it with the key of design, you will keep asking the crowd for permission to be the original the king already authorized. Let me make it plain with your daily behavior. God whispers an instruction. Start the study. Revise the curriculum. Mentor that one person deeply. Shut that door quietly. Sow that seed privately. And instead of moving, you draft a poll. Does this make sense to you? Do you think I'm ready? Are people going to support it? And you call it community, but it is often camouflage for fear. I believe in counsel. We honor wise counsel. But counsel is a scalpel. It refines what God already told you. It does not replace God's voice. When you require the applause of the unassigned to confirm the assignment of the manufacturer, you demote heaven. That's a lie designed to keep you shallow, distracted, and dependent. Some of the most accurate instructions you will ever receive will arrive without public confirmation. The pattern of faith has never promised you a parade at the starting line. Often the parade doesn't show up until the finish, and sometimes not even then. The victory you see in public was won in private. Greatness is married to silence. Listen carefully. Here is the practical correction. Because excuses evaporate in the presence of structure. Decide your non-negotiables in private. Open a blank page and write your assignment in one clear sentence. Write the outcomes you are responsible for in this season. Write the boundaries that protect those outcomes. Write the no list that guards your yes. That no list is holy. It might say, no new projects until this one is complete. No meetings during my altar hour. No responding to criticism that doesn't come from covenant voices. No announcing seeds, let fruit speak. No accepting invitations that unplug my prayer life. Then identify your counsel table. Not the crowd. Not the chorus of the uncommitted. 2 or 3 wise, proven, covenant voices who know your design and fear God more than they fear you. Those are authorized to advise. Everyone else is commentary, and commentary can watch from the gallery. Post this order in your inner room and memorize it, because when pressure comes, you will revert to training, not intention. If you haven't trained your soul to obey without applause, you will default to the addiction that keeps you small. Stop right there. Some of you are calling disobedience, waiting on confirmation. No, that's not confirmation. That's procrastination, baptized in religious language. The king gave you clarity. Move. But what if they misunderstand me? They will. What if they don't support me? Many won't. What if I make mistakes? You will. And grace will teach you faster in motion than fear will in stagnation. Faith looks like movement. Faith sounds like steps in the hallway when nobody is clapping. Faith feels like building an ark when there is no rain in the forecast. Heaven is not waiting for your applause meter to fill. Heaven is waiting for your will to align. I am warning you with love and with urgency. If you need applause to start, you will not have endurance to finish. The middle is lonely. The middle is quiet. The middle is where likes go missing, and the only sound is the rhythm of daily obedience hitting the ground. The process is not punishment, it's preparation. It doesn't look like progress. It looks like burial. Roots don't trend. Roots don't get reposted. Roots hold up forests. If your roots depend on claps, the first drought will expose your entire tree. Start for the king and you will finish with the king. Start for the crowd and you will quit on the crowd. Establish this emotional boundary today. Their opinion is not the thermostat of your obedience. Your peace is not public property. Your assignment is not a suggestion box. Put a lock on your courage. The only hand that opens it is the hand of God, and the only key others hold is called counsel, not control. Speak this into your soul until your bones believe it. I obey first, I explain later, if at all. My yes is to the king. My confirmation is his word, his peace, and the witness of wise counsel, not the applause of spectators. Now move from conviction to construction. Schedule obedience like you schedule prayer. Place decision windows on your calendar where you execute the instructions you've been delaying. Draft the email. Decline the misaligned partnership. Outline the chapter. Build the prototype. Mentor the one he told you to mentor, not the 10 the crowd expects you to entertain. And when fear rises demanding a committee vote, return to your non-negotiables and your covenant table. Ask, does this align with the assignment? Does this protect my altar? Does this maintain my peace? If yes, proceed in silence. If no, let it die without an obituary. Finally, receive the freedom bound to this boundary. You are not rude because you refuse to audition for approval. You are righteous because you refuse to betray design. You are not arrogant because you stop polling strangers. You are accurate because you return authority to where it belongs. Peace is better than popularity. Purpose is weightier than public opinion. Obedience is louder than applause. Guard this gate like your life depends on it, because it does. When you stop renting your courage to reactions, your destiny will stop paying interest to delay. Your life will begin to speak, not because people clapped, but because heaven confirmed, fruit appeared, and the king himself said, well done. Sign number 3 will challenge your compassion and purify your leadership. You confuse helping people with carrying people. Stop right there. I know what you're thinking. Isn't carrying people love? Listen carefully. The problem is not that you love people. The problem is that you rescue what you were called to develop, you enable what you were called to empower, and then you call it love. The truth is, love that carries people beyond a season will eventually crush your purpose and cripple their growth. You must understand this. Kingdom love lives for a moment to restore strength. Codependent love lives forever to replace strength. Kingdom leadership equips. Counterfeit leadership rescues. One makes disciples, the other makes dependents. There is a holy difference between helping and carrying. Helping is a tool. Carrying becomes a lifestyle. Helping hands you a shovel. Carrying digs your hole, plants your seed, waters your field, and then blames you when you don't learn the rain. Helping stands beside, carrying stands instead. Helping restores responsibility, carrying removes responsibility. And when you remove responsibility, you steal dignity. You think you're saving them, but you are silently voting no confidence on their design. You are not a crutch manufacturer. You are a coach. You are not a perpetual babysitter. You are a builder of people. Eagles don't keep eaglets in the nest because the wind is scary. They stir the nest, they hover, they watch, but they do not fly for the eaglet. If you keep doing the flying, the eaglet's wings atrophy, and so does your assignment. Look at your king's pattern and let it correct you. He multiplied bread, yes, but he said to his disciples, you give them something to eat, training them to distribute, not just to depend. He healed the lame, and then he commanded, pick up your mat and walk, restoring responsibility with the miracle. He trained the 12, and then he sent them out 2 by 2 with power and instructions. He didn't let them sit forever in endless classes because sending requires trust. A rich young ruler walked away sad, and he let him walk because love never arrests free will to win a follower. He wept with mourners, but he did not outsource his destiny to their emotions. These are boundaries. This is leadership. If your love requires you to be omnipresent, omnifunding, and omnipatient, you have mistaken yourself for God and turned your compassion into idolatry. Now here's where people get confused. Guilt starts preaching false doctrine in your emotions. It says, if you say no, you're unkind. If you require effort, you're harsh. If you stop paying for chaos, you're selfish. That is a lie from the pit of hell, designed to keep you exhausted, shallow, and ineffective. Guilt is not guidance. Tears are not instructions. Panic is not policy. The king did not design you to be the emergency room for people who refuse to stop starting fires. Compassion without wisdom is self-destruction dressed as kindness. If your help keeps chaos alive, you are not helping, you are fueling. If your money funds a cycle, you are not giving, you are underwriting disorder. If your presence postpones their process, you are not loving, you are delaying their deliverance. Here is the correction, clear and non-negotiable. Set support boundaries, time limits, financial limits, scope limits, decided in prayer, communicated with clarity, enforced with consistency. Time, define the season of intense help. 8 weeks, 3 sessions, 30 minutes bi-weekly, whatever is wise for the situation. After that, evaluate fruit, not feelings. If there is no participation and no progress, there is no extension. Financial, decide in advance what you can give once, not forever. A seed, not a salary. A bridge, not a mortgage. Require a plan, a budget, and evidence of stewardship. No plan, no funds, no follow through, no repeat. Scope. Specify what you provide and what you do not. I can guide you, not do it for you. I can pray with you, but I can't replace your discipline. I can support the plan, not the chaos. I can introduce you to resources, but I won't become your resource line. These are not rude phrases. They are righteous fences. Your words are gates. Require participation. Require progress. Require proof of practice. If they ask for coaching, they bring notes and complete assignments. If they want accountability, they send updates without being chased. If they want funds, they show receipts, not excuses. If they want prayer, they also show prayer life. If they want opportunity, they show preparation. Listen carefully. Grace empowers effort. It does not exempt from effort. Mercy heals. It does not hire complacency. Love carries a stretcher to the hospital, but love doesn't become the hospital's ventilator. You are assigned to facilitate their strength, not replace it. Let me arm your mouth with kingdom language, because boundaries require a trained tongue. When the late night crisis call comes for the 5th time in a week, say, I love you and I will speak with you during my pastoral hours tomorrow. Tonight, use the plan we created. When a friend wants you to write their proposal under the banner of, I'm not good with words, say, I can review your draft, I won't author it. Your voice must learn to work. When a relative asks for another loan after ignoring counsel, say, I can help you create a budget, but I won't fund a pattern. When I see 30 days of tracking and a cut in discretionary spending, we'll revisit. When a mentee wants indefinite weekly meetings, say, we will meet for 6 weeks with assignments. After that, updates move to monthly as you execute. Clarity is not cruelty. Clarity is kindness to both destinies. I can hear the inner tremor. Won't they feel abandoned? Stop right there. Abandonment leaves people without options. Boundaries escort people to their options. Abandonment withholds wisdom. Boundaries release wisdom and require it to be used. Abandonment is neglect. Boundaries are stewardship. Until you understand that healthy detachment is a holy practice, you will keep rescuing adults while your own purpose starves. You are not the Holy Spirit. You are not their conscience. You are a steward of your assignment, a leader of your life, a signpost to the King. Point them clearly. Do not carry them indefinitely. Now build a structure that enforces this wisdom. Establish a help protocol. When a need appears, separate emergencies from patterns. True emergencies get compassion and swift short-term aid. Patterns get process, assessment, plan, milestones, review dates. Document what you will do and what they will do. Create an action list with deadlines they own. Set check-ins that they request, not you chase. Connect them to systems, courses, groups, counselors, job training, financial literacy. Because systems sustain what people cannot carry forever. And then hold the line. If they skip steps, the process pauses. Love remains. Access changes. Support continues for the plan. Support stops for the chaos. Counsel sharpens. Commentary complains. Answer, counsel. Let commentary echo in the gallery. Here is the promise that should set your spine straight. When you restore responsibility to people, their dignity rises, your peace returns, and your assignment breathes. Muscles form only under resistance. Character emerges only under accountability. Destiny matures only under demand. When you stop being their perpetual elevator, they learn the stairs, and your time returns to the altar and the assignment that God gave you. Peace is better than popularity. Fruit is better than flattery. Completion is better than constant crisis. So right now, with sober love and holy accuracy, reset your gates. Send a message that redraws the line. Say it clean. I can guide you, not do it for you. I can pray with you, but I can't replace your discipline. I can support the plan, not the chaos. I can give once to bridge a gap. For ongoing needs, we will build a budget and a job search together. Then watch what happens. Some will rise and thank you later. Some will pout and seek a new carrier. Let them. Your mercy is not their mattress. Your purpose is not their pillow. Guard the gates of your compassion so your calling survives. Love them enough to stop carrying what heaven commanded them to lift. In doing so, you honor your assignment, you honor their design, and you honor the King who trusts you to lead with wisdom, not weariness. Stop right there. We just redrew the gates on helping and carrying, but there is a quieter breach that keeps wrecking your peace and slowing your assignment. It's the way you treat the word no. Your no is a paragraph. Your no is an apology. Your no is covered in nervous explanations and nervous promises you never should have made. And then, after you finally eke it out, you feel dirty, as if you committed a crime against kindness, as if boundaries are betrayal. Listen carefully. The problem is not that you say no. The problem is that you haven't learned to say it clean. Your boundaries collapse under interrogation because you fear being disliked more than you fear delaying your destiny. You reward interrogations with information, and then you call it kindness. But the truth is, your endless explanations are not clarity. They are negotiations with thieves. When you turn your no into a debate, you invite people to bargain with what God already told you to guard. You must understand this. Explanation is not always clarity. Sometimes explanation is consent to keep haggling with your purpose. Broken boundaries always invite bargaining. If a gate is left open, the wind will test it. If a no is left open-ended, manipulators will test it. If your language is soft where it should be settled, your life will be soft where it should be solid. A city without walls is plundered. A soul without no is pillaged by urgency, opinions, and opportunists. And hear me with love. Some of the people testing your no are not evil. They're simply used to your all access. You train them to expect you on demand. You train them to interpret your hesitation as an opening bid. If you train them into it, you can retrain them out of it. Now let me sanctify your conscience. A clean no is not rebellion, it is holiness. It is the gate that protects your God-given yes. Every divine assignment demands human limitation. Even heaven instituted holy boundaries. Light separated from darkness. Waters from waters. Sabbath from labor. The King builds by separation before he multiplies by union. Jesus loved everyone, but he did not give everyone access. He withdrew from crowds. He said, my time has not yet come, which is a holy no to premature demands. He moved by assignment, not by pressure. If the Son stewarded his yes with selective no's, what makes you think your destiny can survive indiscriminate access? Your no is not a weapon against people. It's a shield for purpose. Your no does not reject their value. It protects your stewardship. I know what you're thinking, but if I don't explain, they'll think I'm rude. If I don't soften it, I'll lose relationships. No, that's not what I'm saying. I am not licensing cruelty. I'm commanding clarity. Rudeness wounds dignity. Clarity honors design. You are not required to supply a courtroom brief to validate stewardship. When you offer dissertations to justify a boundary, you hand over your authority like a receipt that can be returned. People pleasing is counterfeit peace. The fear of man is a snare. When you are addicted to being liked, you cannot be led. You cannot serve two masters, applause and assignment. Peace is better than popularity. Fruit is better than flattery. Completion is better than constant crisis. Choose. Let me train your tongue, because kingship starts in your mouth. Clean language is short, respectful, and firm. No, thank you. I won't be able to. That does not fit my assignment this season. I'm not available for that. I'm choosing to protect my focus. I don't have capacity for this request. I'm not the right person for that. Say it once, say it kindly, then be quiet. No oversharing to manage their emotions. No false promises to manage your guilt. No maybe later when you mean never. No I'll pray about it when you've already received your answer. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Anything beyond that is an invitation to confusion, control, and resentment. The more words you add to your no, the more leverage you hand to their strategy. Your dignity is not measured by the length of your explanation. Your dignity is measured by the accuracy of your alignment. Now I want you to confront the residue that makes you feel dirty after you say no. Where do you feel it? Your chest, your stomach, your throat. What does it whisper? You're unloving. You're selfish. You're going to lose them. Good Christians always make time, trace that shame to the lie that trained it. Somewhere a belief got signed into your soul. My value equals my usefulness. Kindness equals compliance. God is pleased when I am exhausted. That is a lie from the pit of hell, designed to keep you shallow, distracted, and dependent. Replace it with truth. I am a steward, not a savior. My time is a trust, not a toy. Saying no to the misaligned is saying yes to the assigned. Love has limits because destiny has design. Until you renew that belief, your soul will keep negotiating against your own assignment. Listen carefully. The moment you start negotiating your boundaries, you begin financing your own delay. When you apologize for focus, focus flees. When you excuse your no, chaos hears a maybe. When you cushion your refusal with half promises, you mortgage your peace to pay for their disappointment. You don't owe everyone an explanation. You owe your king obedience. Counsel sharpens you. Commentary drains you. Share your reasons with your covenant voices if wisdom requires it. With the crowd, give clarity. With manipulators, give silence. Show your blueprint to builders, not critics. Guard your process like your life depends on it, because it does. Here's your practice. Pre-decide your no's so you don't improvise under pressure. Set office hours for your generosity. Set capacity lines for your calendar. Decide your giving lanes. Decide which topics you do not discuss. Write your phrases. Memorize them. Rehearse them in prayer until the tremor in your voice turns into a trumpet. And when pushback comes, and it will do not defend, escalate, or retaliate, repeat the boundary. If pressed again, end the conversation respectfully. If they sulk, let them. If they punish, grieve if you must, but do not bow. Love them, bless them. Do not betray your assignment for their approval. The victory you see in public was won in private in the moment you refuse to sell your yes for temporary peace. I am commissioning you now. Stop renting your soul to the highest bidder of attention. Stop apologizing for the walls that keep your vineyard fruitful. Stop translating every no into a softer English that makes disobedience palatable. Your no is a priestly act that keeps your altar from being trampled. Your no is a royal decree that preserves the estate of your assignment. Your no is the gate that protects your God-given yes. Speak it clean, speak it kindly, speak it without fear, and watch your peace come home, your schedule obey, and your destiny accelerate, not because you became harsh, but because you became holy about your boundaries. Guard the gate, honor the assignment. Let your life speak loudly. Stop right there. You learn to speak a clean no, but your peace is still leaking. Why? Because too many people hold keys to your inner world. Your mood spikes with every text. Your focus fractures with every call. Your spirit lurches at every notification like a marionette pulled by invisible strings. One message praises you, you soar. Another criticizes you, you sink. A stranger's rant becomes your argument. A family drama becomes your emergency. Your peace is constantly under review by a committee that has no right to sit on the board of your destiny. Listen carefully. The problem is not your sensitivity. The problem is your stewardship. You have no gatekeepers at the door of your mind and you call it being available. The truth is, accessibility without assignment is anarchy. When too many people have access to you, your peace becomes public property and your purpose suffers. I know what you're thinking. Isn't staying connected love? Isn't being reachable part of being compassionate? No, that's not what I'm saying. I am for love. I am for compassion. But love without wisdom is a flood that drowns both giver and receiver. Peace is not optional. Peace is not luxury. Peace is leadership. Peace is strategy. Peace is the environment where revelation lands and instructions are heard. The enemy of your destiny can't always derail you with sin, so he will disrupt you with noise. He can't cancel your calling, so he confuses your concentration. He knows your mind carries your assignment, so he attacks your attention. That restlessness you keep dismissing as just how I am, sometimes it's not personality, it's warfare. It's a campaign to make your soul a hallway where every passerby leaves footprints. Noise is the refuge of the insecure. Silence is the workshop of the wise. You want to finish your assignment? Then govern your inner world like a king who understands his palace's holy ground. You must understand this. Your inner world is a temple, not a train station. In the king's design, there is an outer court where many gather, an inner court with limited priests, and a holy of holies where only covenant enters. Your problem is you handed out backstage passes to the holy place to people who belong in the balcony. You made the crowd your confidant. You made commentators your counselors. You made casual acquaintances your covenant circle. And now your heart is crowded. Your mind is noisy. And your spirit is tired. Until you restore the architecture of access, your peace will keep bleeding and your purpose will keep stalling. Let me give you a kingdom maxim and write it on your conscience. Peace is better than popularity. If you trade peace for acceptance, you will pay with confusion. If you exchange focus for constant availability, you will purchase delay at full price. Jesus loved everyone, but he didn't give everyone access. He taught crowds. He trained 12. He confided in 3, and he spoke alone with the Father. He withdrew. He set his face like flint. He slept through storms, others call emergencies. He told a tempest, be still, but he didn't let people be the tempest inside his soul. That is not rudeness, that is rulership. Until you learn to rule the climate of your inner world, you will be ruled by the weather of other people's moods. Now we correct this with precision. Establish access rules. Who can call anytime? Only covenant voices tied to your assignment and your stewardship, your spouse, your children, your covering, your designated emergency contacts. Everyone else must schedule. Who gets emotional updates? Your covenant circle that can handle your vulnerability with wisdom, faith, and confidentiality. The crowd does not get a tour of your soul. Social media is not your therapy room. Show your blueprint to builders, not critics. Who gets silence? Manipulators, energy thieves, and those who confuse access with entitlement. Counsel sharpens you. Commentary drains you. Answer counsel. Let commentary echo in the gallery. Institute rhythm like your destiny depends on it, because it does. Establish Sabbath principles. One day, every week, close the gates. No business, no building, no broadcasting, just worship, rest, and renewal. Bookend your days with quiet hours, morning consecration before the phone, evening descent before sleep. Phone boundaries are not legalism, they are leadership. Remove non-essential notifications. Put your device to bed in another room. Set do not disturb with an exceptions list for covenant voices only. Create closed door seasons every day for prayer, study, and focus building. 90 minutes of deep work, no text, no calls, no notifications. Airplane mode can become altar mode. Protect the first hour of your day for the King. Guard your midday for refocus. Defend your evening for reflection. Weekly schedule a solitude session for review and planning. Monthly, a half-day retreat to recalibrate. Quarterly, a fast from noise to renew your discernment. This is not suggestion. This is sacred stewardship. These rules are not optional. They are requirements for those who intend to finish. I can hear the resistance. What if they need me? What if it's urgent? Won't I lose influence if I'm not always on? Stop right there. Urgency is not your master. Emergencies exist, but emergency is not a lifestyle. You are not required to attend every emotional fire. Some fires are training burns people need to manage with the extinguisher you already taught them to use. Some emergencies are manipulations dressed in panic. Not every problem is your assignment. Not every crisis has your name on it. If someone's chaos controls your calendar, you have handed them a crown they did not earn. Take it back. A steward does not apologize for guarding the king's resources. Let me train your language for peace. When a non-covenant call pings during your holy hours, let it go and reply later. I'm in a focus block. I'll respond between 2 and 3. When someone seeks your emotional processing in the comment section, say, I don't discuss personal matters publicly. Let's schedule if counsel is needed. When a group thread floods your mind with drama, exit it with dignity. I'm stepping out to protect my focus. Blessings to everyone. When a friend demands instant access to your inner world, answer with truth. I share updates within my covenant circle. I value our relationship, but I steward my heart carefully. Clear words are clean walls. Clean walls create calm rooms. Now build the architecture of peace around your task. Segment your calendar by priority. Altar time, assignment time, stewardship time, community time. Treat them like immovable stones, not suggestions printed in pencil. Give your assignment first claim on your clearest hours. If your work requires thinking, give it morning's fresh oil, not the crumbs of your exhaustion. If your building requires silence, block it. If your prayer requires solitude, guard it like a throne room. Wear noise-canceling boundaries on your soul. Decide that critique, gossip, and speculation will never enter your holy of holies. Enforce it. Repeat it. When people push, do not argue. Restate the boundary. When guilt shouts, do not bow. Recite your assignment. When fear whispers, do not negotiate. Remember your covenant. Here is what will happen when you restore the gates. Peace will settle like a king taking his seat. Clarity will return and give you instructions you could not hear in the storm. Creativity will rise from the quiet ground of your soul. Decisions will sharpen. Discernment will strengthen. You will do in 2 hours what distraction was dragging across 2 weeks. Opportunities will find you working, not scrolling. Your life will stop reacting and start governing. And those who used to access you at will learn to respect you by appointment. Your fruit will retrain them. Your consistency will re-educate your circle. Your results will silence the critics. So I am commanding you with love and fire. Change the locks on your mind. Collect the keys you handed out in insecurity. Revoke expired passes. Install watchmen at your gates. Sabbath, silence, schedule, and scripture in your mouth. Post a sign on your inner door. Closed for consecration. Open by assignment. Appointments for counsel. No entry for chaos. Guard your process like your life depends on it, because it does. Peace is better than popularity. Focus is better than flattery. Completion is better than constant crisis. Guard the gate of your peace and watch your purpose accelerate, not because you disappeared, but because you finally governed what God gave you to rule. Your spirit, your mind, your time, and your access. Stop right there. We have diagnosed the leaks. We have named the breaches. And now I must tie the thread through the whole fabric so you never forget it. Listen carefully. The problem is not busyness. The problem is government. Who rules your time? Who governs your mind? Who sits at the gates of your soul, issuing visas to every voice and every demand that wants entry, until you understand that boundaries are not about personality, but about authority? You will keep rearranging your chaos without ever reclaiming your kingdom. The truth is, broken boundaries are not merely a mental health issue. They are a stewardship failure. And stewardship always has consequences. When you do not manage what God entrusted, delay enters like a thief, dilution spreads like a fog, and your assignment pays the price. You must understand this. The 5 signs we expose are not 5 random habits. They are 5 alarms ringing the same message. Your gates are unguarded. When your schedule belongs to everyone except your assignment, the city is open on the east gate. When you need permission, approval, or applause before you obey, the north gate is swinging on rusted hinges. When you confuse helping people with carrying people, the south gate is crowded with caravans that do not belong to your roads. When you cannot say no without apologizing and explaining, the west gate is negotiating with invaders. And when you lose peace easily because too many people have keys to your inner world, the citadel itself is compromised. A city without gates is not a city, it's a target. A life without boundaries is not a life on mission. It is an occupation by other people's agendas. Guard your process like your life depends on it, because it does. I know what you're thinking, but I'm just trying to be kind, to be available, to be loving. No, that's not what I'm saying to abandon. Love is our law. Compassion is our culture. But love is not license for chaos. Kindness is not permission for misuse. Perpetual access is not spirituality. Sometimes it's cowardice wearing a halo. Did you hear me? Sometimes you hide from the private work of prayer, study, growth, planning, and execution by staying constantly accessible to everybody else's drama, so you never have to face your discipline. The enemy of your destiny doesn't mind you being busy as long as you are busy avoiding the altar. He doesn't fight noise, he funds it. He doesn't fear activity, he fears authority born in the secret place. Greatness is married to silence. Power is forged when nobody applauds you but heaven. Now lean in. Identity and discipline are covenant partners. You were designed by a manufacturer for a specific outcome. Your fingerprint is not random. Your assignment is not generic. If you truly believe your life has meaning, then discipline is the daily proof of that belief. If you need validation to start, you are not ready to finish. If you require applause to obey, you have outsourced your kingship. What you need is not more opinions. What you need is alignment. What you need is governance. Decisions become declarations when they come from a throne, not a swarm. Every day you either govern your day or your day governs you. Every decision either honors your destiny or mortgages it for comfort. Choose. Let me paint it plain. In the ancient world, the strength of a city was not first its markets, its mansions, or its musicians. It was its walls and its gates. Gates controlled access. Gates set hours. Gates enforced standards. Wise elders sat at the gates to decide what entered and what stayed out. That's where contracts were made, disputes settled, and destinies guarded. Your mind is your gate. Your calendar is your gate. Your phone is your gate. Your relationships are your gate. If you leave them open to weather and whim, do not be surprised when locusts eat your harvest. Put watchmen on your walls. Appoint wisdom as your warden. Establish protocols for entry. Not everyone deserves an audience with your attention. Not every idea deserves a room in your mind. Not every request deserves a place on your calendar. Show your blueprint to builders, not critics. Seek counsel, not commentary. Peace is the fruit of gates well governed. I can feel the wrestling in you. What if they call me selfish? What if they get offended? What if I lose opportunities? Listen carefully. You will disappoint some people when you become serious about purpose. That disappointment is not proof you are wrong. It is often the sound of your future being protected. Some doors will close because you finally learned to close them. Some invitations will dry up because you stop paying the tax of people pleasing. Some rooms will become quiet because you stop being the entertainment. Let them close, let it dry, let it quiet. A prune tree is not dying. It is preparing to bear weight. The process is not punishment. It is preparation. The weight is not a waste. It is wisdom stretching your roots for the height that is coming. Until you understand that boundaries are sacred because destiny is sacred, you will keep repenting for what you should be repeating. You will say sorry for saying no. You will apologize for obeying instructions that heaven gave you. You are not being cruel. You are being consecrated. You are not withholding love. You are guarding oil. Oil leaks in open containers. Glory departs from ungoverned places. If you refuse to govern your access, do not blame God for the famine of focus. He gave you keys. Use them. He gave you time. Order it. He gave you an assignment. Prioritize it. He gave you peace. Protect it. Now hear the verdict. Boundaries are not selfish. They are sacred stewardship of destiny. These are not preferences. These are protocols. Kings don't apologize for gates. They appoint gatekeepers. Priests don't apologize for veils. They honor holy spaces. Builders don't apologize for blueprints. They execute them. You want to be great, then shut up and build when the world is shouting and scrolling. Work when they're sleeping. Study when they're scrolling. Prepare when they're partying. Pray when they're performing. And when the time comes, your fruit will speak in a voice no critic can silence. So make a covenant with your future right now. Settle your government. Decide who rules your time and your mind. Choose assignment over approval, clarity over chaos, purpose over popularity. Install gates where you have none. Repair gates where they are broken. Post watchmen where you used to put welcome mats. Accept the temporary discomfort of disappointing expectations to secure the permanent joy of fulfilling destiny. Guard the gate. Honor the assignment. And watch how your life will begin to speak loudly. Not because you raised your volume, but because you finally ruled your boundaries as a sacred trust before your king. Now we build. Stop right there and hear me. Like a decree from the throne, boundaries don't appear through desire. They are built through discipline, consistent practices. Feelings are not frameworks. Inspiration is not infrastructure. You can cry about your purpose or you can construct it. Today we construct. And these 5 practices are not suggestions, they are requirements. If you execute them privately, your life will testify publicly. If you ignore them, prepare to repeat cycles you already hate. Choose your future with your habits. Rule number 1, define your assignment in writing. Listen carefully. If it's not written, it's not governed. Vague purpose empowers vague people to waste your life. Put it on paper. In one clear sentence, declare what you are building in this season. Not in your lifetime. In this season. In Q3, I am writing the first draft of the book that codifies my method. In the next 6 months, I am launching the pilot of the mentoring program for teen entrepreneurs. In the next 90 days, I am restoring my health to mission readiness by losing 10 pounds, sleeping 7 hours, and rebuilding daily prayer. Then list the 3 outcomes that must exist by the end of the season and the weekly actions that produce them. Now install the 4-door filter on every request. Evaluate, delay, delegate, or decline. If it directly advances the assignment, execute. If it aligns but not now, delay with a date. If it must be done but not by you, delegate with clarity. If it does not belong at all, decline cleanly. Tape this to your wall. Put it on your phone, lock screen. Read it before you answer any invitation. When you know what you're building, you stop letting random needs become your blueprint. Rule number 2, create a yes budget. You would never hand a stranger your bank card and say, spend as you feel. Yet you do it daily with time, energy, money, and emotional capacity. Those are your kingdom currencies. Steward them. Before the week begins, allocate your yeses on paper. Time. Block your mornings for God. An assignment non-negotiable altar and build time. Allocate afternoons for stewardship operations, email, administration. Reserve evenings for family and recovery. Create 260-minute windows for communication across the day and lock the rest. Energy. Identify your peak hours, the first 3 after waking, and give them to your hardest, holiest work. Don't feed your peak to errands and opinions. Money. Pre-decide your generosity lanes and your project investments. Once the envelope is empty, that's a no until it refills. Emotional capacity. Set a weekly cap for high emotion conversations. When the cap is reached, schedule next week or refer to counsel. This is not cold, it's covenant. You are protecting your capacity for obedience. Write a simple rule on your planner. Once the budget is spent, the answer is no. No guilt, no games, no loans against tomorrow's focus. Budget in a tithe of time for God every day. Budget in Sabbath, budget in sleep, budget in movement. When you budget yeses in advance, your no's become honest and your peace becomes profitable. Rule number 3, choose your circle by function. Stop giving microphones to the wrong voices. Your kingdom ecosystem needs 3 groups: mentors for counsel, peers for accountability, and recipients for service, and they are not interchangeable. Mentors sit above you in experience and fruitfulness. They have permission to correct and to direct within your assignment. Peers run beside you. They keep pace, challenge consistency, and refuse your excuses. Recipients are those you're called to serve. They receive your gift, not govern your decisions. Write 3 names under each category. If you can't, pray and pursue until you can. Schedule counsel with mentors monthly or quarterly. Come prepared with written questions tied to your assignment outcomes. Meet with peers weekly for check-ins. Share metrics, not just moods. Progress, not just problems. Serve recipients faithfully on the schedule your assignment allows. Don't let their gratitude or their panic set your calendar. Guard the boundaries. Recipients do not become advisors because they clap loudly. And peers do not become critics because they are honest. Show your blueprint to builders, not to commenters. Counsel sharpens you. Commentary distracts you. If you confuse these roles, you crown the crowd and crucify your clarity. Rule number 4, implement friction against distraction. The enemy of your destiny is often not a demon. It is a dopamine loop. You defeat it with design. Build holy obstacles to casual access. Install schedule communication windows. 2 blocks a day, late morning and late afternoon, to process text, emails, and messages. Everything else goes silent. Do not disturb is not rudeness. It is rulership. Protect your first and last hours. No phone, no news, no notifications. Only God, gratitude. Scripture, silence, planning, and presence with your family. Put your device to sleep in another room. Turn off non-essential notifications permanently. Use app blockers and grayscale during work blocks. Set an autoresponder. I respond to messages between 11 to 12 and 4 to 5. If urgent, contact my assistant. Call this emergency line. Create office hours for availability and publish them. Sabbath weekly. 24 hours off from building and broadcasting. Worship, rest, relationships, reflection, monthly. Block a half day for recalibration review goals, budgets, systems. Quarterly, fast from noise. 3 days away from social media and unnecessary talk to renew discernment. Friction fights impulse. Rhythm feeds focus. Airplane mode can become alter mode. If you refuse to build friction, do not pretend you are being attacked when you are simply being available to distraction. Rule number 5, train your mouth. Boundaries collapse where language is soft and actions are inconsistent. Kingship is heard before it is seen. Decide on short, clean phrases and practice them until they become muscle memory. No, thank you. That does not fit my assignment this quarter. I'm unavailable during those hours. I've allocated my yes budget already. Please connect with my assistant to schedule. I won't be attending. I don't discuss personal matters publicly. Keep your yes just as clear. Yes, I can deliver by Friday at 3 p.m. Yes, I will take that in October when the window opens. Then execute exactly what you say. Do not promise in excitement what you cancel in embarrassment. Create a 2-4-hour cool down rule for major yeses. You never consent under adrenaline. Install a no by default habit for unscheduled requests. If it's not in the plan, it's a no unless elevated by assignment. When someone pushes, do not explain, restate. When guilt rises, do not rationalize. Repeat your rule. And when you break your rule, repent quickly and repair publicly if needed. So your words remain currency others can trust. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. And watch the storm in your relationships calm under the weight of your consistency. Now we audit, because you don't change what you don't measure. For 7 days, capture your activity in 3 0-minute blocks. At the end of each day, label each block with 1 of 4 tags: assignment, maintenance, distraction, or people pleasing. Assignment is mission critical work tied directly to your written outcomes. Maintenance is necessary. Support, laundry, admin, logistics, things that keep life running but do not advance the mission on their own. Distraction is anything you did not plan that did not need doing. People pleasing is any yes you gave to manage perception rather than fulfill purpose. Be honest. Color code them. Assignment green, maintenance blue, distraction gray, people pleasing red. At week's end, total the colors. If green is not the largest, you found your gates. If red shows up more than blue, you are paying popularity tax. If gray is heavy, your friction is weak. Don't wallow. Repent, then reallocate in your next week's plan. Move 2 hours from red or gray into green every day. Shift 1 maintenance block to delegation. Announce your new office hours. Turn on do not disturb. Send 2 emails to clarify expectations you previously left open-ended. Discipline is daily redistribution toward destiny. I know what you're thinking. This feels intense. It is. You are not building a picnic. You are building a kingdom assignment. The process is not punishment. It is preparation. What you rehearse becomes your reflex. For the next 30 days, consecrate yourself to these 5 practices. Write the assignment, set the yes budget, define the circle, install friction, train your mouth, audit your week and adjust in the light. Do it when you feel like it, and especially when you don't. Work when they're sleeping, study when they're scrolling, prepare when they're partying, pray when they're performing. Start right now, start right where you are. Start with what you have and watch how the gates rise, the noise falls, the peace settles, the focus sharpens, and your life begins to move from announcement to authority. Guard your process like your life depends on it, because it does. Guard the gate, honor the assignment, and let your fruit speak in a voice no critic can silence. Stop right there. Hear this with the weight it deserves. You cannot fulfill purpose while living as everyone's convenience. The kingdom does not advance by the constantly available. It advances by the consistently aligned. The truth is, people will take what you do not guard. Demands will occupy what you do not govern. But the moment you rebuild your gates, when you take back your mornings, when you sanctify your focus, when you decide who gets access and who does not, peace returns like a rightful king to his throne, and progress begins to gather speed under your feet. Until you understand that access is authority and authority is stewardship, you will keep confusing exhaustion with obedience. Listen carefully. Heaven is not applauding your depletion. Heaven is calling you to discipline. Peace is not a luxury. Peace is your license to build. Let me speak to your identity, because destiny is always an identity issue before it is a scheduled issue. You are not random. You are not an accident. You are not a spare part in a noisy machine. You were designed by a manufacturer with a precise intention, shaped by wisdom, stamped with a fingerprint no one else carries. Your days are not for waste. They are for impact. Your breath is not for performance. It is for purpose. You were born an original assignment, not a permission-seeking copy. You are a city set on a hill, not a hallway for every passerby to trample. You are a gatekeeper of sacred oil, not a leaking container for every thirsty soul. You are a king priest under God, called to govern your time, steward your gift, and protect your peace. If you ever doubted, check your design. Your mind can focus, your spirit can hear, your will can say no. The enemy of your destiny is not stronger than that design. He only prospers where you abandon your post. Now, move from revelation to resolve. Start today? No. Start now. One boundary conversation. Choose the person or context that most violates your gates and state a clean, firm line. I will not take unscheduled calls during my build hours. I no longer discuss that topic. I'm unavailable for this project. Say it without apology, without essay, without anger. One calendar block. Carve sacred, immovable time on your schedule for your assignment every single day. And protect it like it's a newborn. Label it with clarity. Write, design, train, plan, pray. One relationship reclassification. Take one person you have mistakenly positioned as mentor or peer who is actually a recipient and return them lovingly to the right place. Bless them, serve them, but remove their authority over your decisions. One device limit. Set do not disturb for the same windows daily. Remove one social app from your phone for a week or dock the device outside your bedroom. Turn friction into freedom. 1 hour silence with God, no playlist, no podcast, no pleading, just scripture, stillness, listening, and a journal. Build your altar first. Build your assignment next. 5 actions today, not tomorrow. Today. Start right where you are. Start with what you have. Start even if your hands are trembling. Your future respects decisive people. I know what you're thinking. What if they push back? What if I lose ground? What if I look harsh? Stop right there. Resistance is not a sign you're wrong. It is often proof you're changing the system. Old patterns protest when new kings take the throne. When Nehemiah rebuilt the gates, critics appeared. When Jesus set his face toward Jerusalem, distractions multiplied. When you close a door that has been swinging freely, it squeaks. Expect the squeak. Expect tests. Expect people to knock harder when the first no is given. Don't interpret that as failure. Interpret it as confirmation that your governance is working. Systems do not surrender without a sound. Listen carefully. Do not negotiate your consecration. Do not explain your boundaries into oblivion. Restate your rule. Return to your assignment and let time make the announcement you do not need to make. Counsel sharpens you. Commentary distracts you. Keep moving. The problem is not that you lack opportunities. The problem is that you have allowed too many unassigned opportunities to occupy your oxygen. You must understand this. Fruit is public, but roots are private. If you protect the root in private, the fruit will appear in public on schedule. Most people announce before they have structure. Most people post before they have process. Don't be most people. Greatness is married to silence. The victory you want in public is forged in the private law you enforce daily when nobody's watching, when you keep your prayer hour, when you keep your bill block, when you keep your yes budget, when you keep your mouth trained. The delay you resent will turn into acceleration the moment you align your gates with your assignment, not by magic, but by management, not by hype, but by holiness. So I commission you now, guard the gate and honor the assignment with a courage that does not flinch at faces. Choose peace over popularity, governance over guilt, stewardship over scattered living. Post watchmen at your mornings. Appoint wisdom over your evenings. Set altars in your first hour and your last. Speak as one who knows their orders. Walk as one who carries authority. Love everyone. Grant access wisely. And when your heart wavers, return to your design. You were formed for this. You were trusted with this. You are accountable for this. Refuse to die full. Refuse to waste your oil on leaky ground. Refuse to let untrained access drain consecrated purpose. Here is my final word to your spirit. When you guard your boundaries, you protect your purpose and your destiny begins to accelerate. The fog lifts, the noise quiets, the road straightens. The right people find you because your gates point you to the right roads. The wrong people release you because your gates no longer host their chaos. In due season, your life will preach louder than your mouth. Your fruit will be the argument. Your peace will be the platform. Your results will be the revelation. Protect the root and heaven will reveal the fruit. Honor the process and your purpose will stop paying the price. Go now. Shut the gates that must be shut. Open the gates that heaven has authorized. Work when they're sleeping. Study when they're scrolling. Prepare when they're partying. Pray when they're performing. Start now. Start here. Start with what you have and watch how loudly your life will speak.